I totally love doing those thumbnails up the front, but honestly, they're just such a joke. I never know what to do. I should probably just cover them up with my own pictures or something, but they're still a challenge for me to come up with a new face. Um, I'm sorry I wasn't on yesterday. It's really quite funny. I have always been one of those people. I've had flu needles, flu shots. I've had immunisations all my life. And I had my flu shot, which was really hard to get hold of this year because of the demand on the flu shot. So I had a flu shot. And hey, Jody, how you going? And I used to say to people, you can't get the flu from a flu shot. It's impossible. People would never believe what I was saying. And I was like, well, that's fine. You know, if you've got sick from it, I guess there must be a reason. So I asked my doctor, years ago, why do people get sick after flu shots? And he said, well, sometimes your body has to build up the resistance. And and it takes a little bit to do that. And I was like, okay. So yesterday I went to a new doctor because I found someone who'd give me a flu shot. Hey, how you going? And on Friday, new doctor. A doctor who could not believe that I was 62 years old and didn't take any medication for anything. So I'm pretty fit. Anyway, they gave me a flu shot and I got really sick on Friday night from the flu shot. It only lasted 24 hours, and apparently that's me building up resistance, which was fine. And I guess I'm getting a little older and I have to understand that it's possible my body was a bit slower to react. But I actually got asthma. And I always get asthma at the beginning and the end of the flu season, and that's okay. At the end of the season, going into winter, going into summer, always got asthma for those times. But yeah, got sick. I'm great. I feel fabulous today. I was only 24 hours I was sick for, so I did double check and I Googled it, what happens after a flu shot. Well, you shouldn't. I've never got sick from one before. I'm 62 years old. I've never got sick from a flu shot. So I'm thinking, I don't know what they put in it this year or whether my resistance was down a little bit, but only lasted for 24 hours. And I figure I run a much higher risk of dying from the flu. So that's the way I see it. So I know a lot of people are anti-vaxxers and that's cool for them. But I'm still here and I've had many, many immunisations. So I don't know. Believe what you believe, I guess. But I did get asthma. And being I normally get it on the change of seasons anyway, I wasn't sure whether I'd got it because of the change of season or whether it was from the needle. Thank you. The doctor was amazed. He said, "What, you're not on any medications?" I've never been to this doctor before. "You're not on any medications at all?" And I was like, "No. What should I be?" So that was pretty fabulous, wasn't it? So that made my day anyway. It was worth it. Beauty secrets. I don't know if there's anything secret about it. I just think that perhaps for me, maybe I had good genetics. I'm probably lucky in that regard, I guess. But anyway, I'm fabulous. I woke up this morning, I thought, oh my goodness, I feel, Jody, I don't know what age is supposed to be. Sometimes when I say it to myself, I think I don't feel like I'm supposed to be at a certain age, but who knows? It's all good. I've certainly met people my age and similar age to me who look just as good. And I do think it's got a lot to do with, I don't know, whether it's, genetics, whether it's attitude, whether it's a combination, I don't know, but I feel really good. So, so 24 hours I was sick for. I'm very sick. I ran a temperature. I had very heavy lungs and I got a bit nervous because I kept thinking about the doctor saying to me, when you've had a flu shot, you really need to be careful for a little while afterwards because your body's a little bit more vulnerable. And I was like, great. I walked out of the doctor's surgery and this guy full on coughed on me, didn't even put his hand over his mouth or anything. I think so too, Jody. That's what I'd like to say. But then I think I don't want to say that and make that judgment on people because I think sometimes people are just so beautiful from the inside out anyway. So, there you go. Having a good demeanour. Maybe. And you know what? I'm really lucky. I smoked up until about 25 years ago, and I went out in the sun and cooked myself all the time. So in some regards, I'm very, very lucky. Hey, Emily, how you going? Yeah, you made it. So, all right. So we're going to read some cards first. So let's pull a couple from this Animal Spirit Guidebook. That one wants to come out. I think we've had that one before. I've just washed my hair and it just all falls everywhere. So if you see me doing that, it's because I've got a hair on the cards. I think so too. I think it has got a lot to do with, I think we've had both these cards before. I think it certainly has a lot to do with your disposition. I do think a lot of people get very stuck in the past and sort of, will say things like, it was better in my day and this was better in my day and that was better in my day. And I think I've never been that person. Vicky. Oh, you actually got a different strain of the flu to what you've been immunised against, obviously. This was like the flu. Sorry, I'll get back to I was talking about something else. This was like the flu. Like I had really, really bad aches and pains. I had a temperature. I was sweating. I was headachy, but only lasted for 24 hours. I feel fantastic today. And back to Jody, I was going to say, I really believe that moving forward is the answer. You can't say the music was better in my day, this was better in my day, that was better in my day, because you can't. That day's gone. Everybody complains about how things are in their own time. So when I was a kid, people used to say, the kids today, they want to wear their long hair. They follow bands like the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones. What sort of damage is that doing to our children? They burnt Bibles because they burnt records that the Beatles have made because they said something about being as bloody good as God or something. I don't remember. People are really stuck in their own time. They believe their time is the best. I am so not like that. I love everything that we have today. I love the technology. I love the music. I love the movies. I love everything today. And I don't think kids are any worse today than they were 20 years ago. I was an absolute menace I think I was when I was a kid. Melissa, that sounds so funny. I was wild. I was wild. I did all the things kids shouldn't do. And that's a long time ago. And there were people, even in my mother's day, like that had children to family members and it all got hushed up. So all this crap, all this stuff, you hear people saying about gay people. Oh, there were no gay people in my day. Well, we know there were gay people when they were running Greek athletics because it was quite fashionable for one of the lords and kings to have their own boys for their pleasure. It's been going on since the beginning of time. So this idea that things are different in our time to everywhere else is all wrong. Things are always the same. The drugs may vary a little bit. The behaviours may change a little bit. The mental health and disabilities were always all around. We just have a different idea about them now. But that's, for me, that's what I feel like. I just appreciate every day. I love every day. And even when I have a bad day, I still wake up the next day and think, yeah, yesterday wasn't the greatest day, but I feel good today. That's the main thing. All right. I have the lizard and the fish. And I know we've had both of these before, but I don't think we've had them together. Now, the lizard, I think I like his description because I think he's... I agree. I'm just going to take a moment out and read some of your comments. Vicky, the fact is, at the end of the day, it's your choice whether you have a flu shot or not. For me, it's a personal choice. Now I'm getting older. I think, well, I'm more at risk of bugs and things are around. Over the age of 65, you do run a bit more risk because I said to them yesterday, what is different about the flu needles for the over 65s to the under 65s? And the nurse said to me that the over 65s don't absorb things quite so well. So there's like vitamin B or something in their shot to help them absorb it better. People die in their thousands. Doesn't matter how much you deny this. It doesn't matter. Take the COVID out of the picture. People die in their thousands every year from flu. every year. It is not a nice thing. I remember having a really bad flu when I was about 16, 17 years old. And it laid me out for like nearly 2 weeks. I could not get out of bed. I was so sick and I didn't have anybody to look after me. And I quite frankly thought I was going to die in my bed. I was about 17, I think. And I thought they're just going to find a corpse in the bed and I'm going to be really smelly and unattractive by the time they find me, because I was so unwell. I couldn't get out of bed. I tried a few times and I just kept falling over on the floor. So I couldn't even, I was crawling to the bathroom to get water. I've had those sort of flus, and I guess I've worked in places now which often, it's not like they can make you have a flu shot, but they highly recommend it. And if you're working around kids, I know particularly when I lived with my daughter for the year when the twins were born, I got sick all the time from those children, all the time. They brought all sorts of bugs home for me that I'd never had in my life. So I guess for me, the choice is, now I'm getting older, I'm more conscious that I don't want to get really sick. I do get bad asthma when I get sick. And it is sort of under control. I don't need to take medication all the time, which is a good thing. But it doesn't mean that I'm not at risk. Now, for somebody who may be younger without asthma, you probably find that they run less of a risk than me, and it makes it a little bit of a different choice. But everybody's got their own way of doing things. That's the way I see it. I wonder what it's going to be like, because we've talked about this before, I think, when we first came to Australia, because we had to have a lot of immunisations to come across the world and come into Australia. So it'll be interesting to see. Yes, Emily, lots of watery animals lately. I love your description. Perfect. There is. I think there's a lot of emotion around us at the moment. So I think... there you go, the Spartan coach, the old Richard Grannon. He's just a hero to me. He saved me. He explained so much to me. I've been watching him for several years now, and I love his way of talking about the things he experienced in a very brutally honest way. And that's the way I feel that you need to be. So I love him to bits. And healing yourself, fantastic. Really does give you... He really has got such good insight, but it's not a crappy... I don't always agree with everything he says. There are things he says that perhaps don't always resonate with me, but the majority of time it does. And even if it doesn't, it makes me think about how I can do things differently. Hey, Gigi, how you going? Jody. And I agree with you, Vicky. It is really nice to be in a society where we can be ourselves. You know, there isn't as much pressure on us to conform like there used to be. We're much more in touch with individualism. Even if we haven't got the full way, even in my timeline, I have seen us move so dramatically across things that people were so narrow-minded about before. And the thing is, for me, I grew up with a very racist parent, perhaps even parents, who didn't think they were racist, of course, who were very much thought we were better than everybody else. Even though we were very, very poor, we were still better than everybody else. So I grew up with that, and I could never understand that way of thinking. It's never been a way of thinking for me. I totally and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, accept every person as they are. I don't expect any bells and whistles from anybody. As long as they're not cruel, mean, or nasty people. And I've met enough of them in my lifetime to know that I don't want them around me. But in terms of accepting people for what they are, I couldn't freaking care what you are in terms of whether I like you or not. I like it. I like you because you're a nice person or you're a good person. Capricorn. My reading right for Capricorn Blast from the Past. Well, I've just finished the readings, so I put them up tonight. I haven't got, because I got sick yesterday. I was planning to do the June readings yesterday, so they're going to be a little late this week. But and the other thing too is we start classes from next Saturday, so I probably won't do the lives on a Saturday while I'm doing the classes until I move the classes. So anyway, let's just read your cards. So we have the Fish. This is about restlessness, a change of focus, and lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. I must be a fish. I amuse myself all the time, don't worry about it. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. And this is about being adaptable and traveling well. Okay, and then we have the lizard. Now, the lizard is instinctual, sensitive to the subtle, and a dreamer. So the lizard is an expert in the realm of sensory perception, as if it has a sixth sense. The lizard hears what is yet to be spoken and sees what's yet to manifest. Although this is an amazing gift, it can easily wear the lizard down. Big crowds, lots of travel, or overstimulation will drain a lizard of their magical essence. This card is an indication to pull back from the bright lights and big city and return to the inner artist who's been whispering your name. Now, isn't that really interesting? Because I think it's telling us to be more like the fish, to just go with the flow, not to absorb, but to observe. Just go with the flow. Don't sit in your lizard all the time. That's the empathic stuff. But go with the flow. Be like the fish. Go with the flow. All right. Quick read. Hey, Susan, how you going? That's my iPad going off there. Can you hear him when he does that? Tell me about the meaning of life. Oh, he's given me Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. That's too funny. Actually, while I was sick yesterday, I watched A Fish Called Wanda, which is one of my favourite movies. And I still laugh my head off in that movie. All right, serendipity. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful with the other two cards? Well, serendipity is sort of like, isn't it just accepting, just going with the flow? Let's just have a read what it says here. I did get up yesterday and make myself a nice chicken and vegetable soup, which of course I think that's what's cured me. Isn't that right? Chicken and vegetable soup. Okay, serendipity. Opportunity allied with readiness or allied with readiness. The awareness of synchronicity, luck and good fortune appearing as signs and symbols, and a magical alignment of events. Sounds nice. You've stepped into alignment with the greater good, where your dreams and the collective dream resonate in exquisite harmony. Now is the time for luck and preparation to meet and create miracles that you could never have planned all by yourself. Co-creating with the universe, people. Keep in mind that you are a channel for providence right now, as a higher energy uses you as a force on behalf of the whole world. Your fortune becomes everyone's fortune. Everything you bring into being now will leave a wondrous legacy for others in the future. Your service to the world is being supported at this time. Expect the unexpected and smile, for Spirit loves you so very much. Isn't that beautiful? So what they're saying here is, if you learn to go with the flow, don't fight against it, don't absorb it, just go with the flow, then everything will be co-created with the universe and come in its own time. Beautiful. Yes, hard to maintain boundaries while going with the flow. No, I think they mean don't just stand and absorb. Don't just not allow yourself to flow with things, to go with things. Monty Python movie too. That's what I just said. What was the meaning of life? And he said Monty Python's movie. A Fish Called Wanda is my favourite movie. Yeah, I no matter how many times I've watched A Fish Called Wanda, it's Kevin Kline in that movie just absolutely cracks me up. Disappointed. I just absolutely love him. I have been waiting to see The Invisible Man, and they were supposed to send it out on DVD, and my daughter and I went looking for it the other day, and they pulled it back from sales. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing there. Probably waiting to sell it at a much higher price or something. I've no idea. But anyway, so yes, I watched A Fish Called Wanda. I caught up on a few episodes of Supernatural. and just sort of tried to chill out as much as I could, but also to keep myself fairly active. Hey, Jane, how you going? So I got up and made soup. I got up and made my coffees. I obviously had to take Panadol and Nurofen and whatever else to work with the headaches and temperatures, but it was really good. It only lasted 24 hours, so that was cool. And then I got up and watched a few things on YouTube this morning before I got started into the readings, because normally I do some of the readings on Saturday and some on Sunday, because sometimes it can be draining doing 10 to 15 minute videos in a row. Other times it doesn't seem to drain at all. So I don't know why it does that. I think it just depends on how much energy that needs to be put into the readings. So I did that. I love Kevin Kline. He cracks me up. That was his character in that Fish Called Wanda, just absolutely cracks me up. He's so funny. But I've seen him in a lot of other things, and I know he can be a very serious actor too. But yeah, Fish Called Wanda. It's just a crack up. And John Cleese is absolutely amazing too. But you know, I've always been a big Monty Python fan. So, Jeanette, I feel absolutely fantastic today. I barely took a pause. The only reason that I probably wasn't feeling up to doing the reading yesterday, coming on yesterday, was more because I had a headache and because I was having a bit of trouble with the asthma. So yeah, I just really didn't feel up to it. So, but we barely missed a beat. From the next several weeks anyway, until I finish the Saturday classes and start doing them during the week, I won't come on the Saturday. It will just be a little bit too complex to try and do an hour on and then do the classes. So the classes start next week for those of you who are enrolled, and you would have got a confirmation and an email telling you giving you the Zoom thing. I still haven't worked it out. I'm still winging it a little bit, but I promise I will have it completely worked out before. If not, I'll ask Jane. Jane's very gratefully offered to help me if I get stuck with anything, because she uses Zoom for her school kids. She's a school teacher. Oh, I hope you don't mind me telling that, everybody. But yes, feeling really good and on top of everything at the moment. So the readings have been absolutely spectacular. As I said, I've nearly finished, and I'll try and get the June readings done this week as well. But beautiful, beautiful readings still. Everything at the moment is really about evolving and becoming better versions of ourselves. And I think that most of you have been doing, thanks, Jane. I think most of you have been doing, you know, what you need to do in terms of work on yourself. And there are, I think, 3 eclipses in the next, I don't know who does the astrology. We don't have, Moira's the astrology person. I don't have her on board at the moment. I think there's 3 eclipses in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So that is going to have a big impact on our self-development as well. There still seems to be a lot of us shedding, I guess, whenever I say shedding up or purging things about ourselves that don't serve us anymore. So it'll be really interesting to see how we go over the next few weeks. But I would almost imagine, I mean, you guys have been on here most of the time over the last few months now. It's day 70 today for me. I know the guys in the US have been on lockdown a lot longer than that. And I know that every one of you has spoken to me about your own self-development. So I'm sure you are all feeling that self-development stuff. But anyway, yeah, that's been really big. So I hope I've covered everything that you've all been talking about, and I haven't missed anybody coming on board. Just have a quick flick back and make sure I haven't missed anybody. No, I think that was everybody. Cool. Okay, so what are we going to do today? What are we going to do? I can grab a book out, read a bit of a book. No, we'll do a reading. Hang on a second. I'm in my pajama pants. Let's do a reading. Everybody up for a reading? Then we don't do one on Sunday. And then I have chicken and vegetable soup for lunch and for dinner to get me back on track again. Hey, Jess, how are you going? Look at all the J's in the window. We have Jody, Jeanette, Jane, Jess. All the Jane names. How are you, Deborah? let's have a look at what's going on in the universe at the moment. I'm going to try and tune into your energies so you get this reading, okay? Alrighty. Oh, oh, nice. I'd probably need a dog because then I'd be forced to go walking, wouldn't I? We got the Lovers come straight out. So something's going on here. Oh, hey, Carolyn, how are you going? Finally made it onto a live. How wonderful. So we have the Lovers card coming out. Behind the Lovers card, there's the Ace of Swords. Someone's got a truth here. Someone's holding back. Someone's not speaking to you. Someone's not expressing themselves to you here. Someone has deep feelings of love for you and they're not saying anything. Oh, and we have the Wish card behind that. Okay, so you're getting a powerful reading here. I'm reading for you guys, so I don't know who this is for. Take it with you. There's a wish coming through here. Someone's wishing, and a decision to be made. Someone is wishing for somebody to come in here and speak a truth. Somebody knows the truth here, but they're waiting for someone else to speak it. Now, this could be you that's not talking, but someone's got great feelings of love here that they're not expressing. And there seems to be some sort of choice on whether that will lead to their abundance or not here. But definitely about balancing things out. Yeah, there you go. I like the sound of that one too. Okay, nice start, right? Let's see how we go with that. Okay, so some of you could be dealing with a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. Some of you could be a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. If you are, then you really are standing in your element here. So you're standing in your own power with this card. The King of Pentacles is someone who, is sort of focused on their money, focused on their material side of life because they enjoy what material things brings them. So they're very comfortable with who they are. That can also represent husband as well. Or someone that wants a long-term commitment. Okay, and we have the World coming in after that. This is about closing down some cycling, some sort of energy of cycling. Somebody's closing something off here. I think this is the person that you're dealing with. Let me just put another card on it. Okay, Queen of Wands. Yep, okay. Some of you are dealing with someone who's already in another relationship or another situation. Hey, Santana, how you going? Virgo. Hope it's you. Oh, I love all the hearts. Look at all the hearts. Someone's closing down a situation with somebody else here or closing out some sort of prior situation. This could be you too. Someone has their back on you at the moment, though. Someone's not focused on you at this time. They're dealing with their own stuff here. Someone's making a decision to move in a different direction, but they're doing it. They're not focused on the prize here. They're doing what they need to be doing. Someone's closed off. Yep, Knight of Wands here. Someone's going through a lot of energy here, trying to close down something. This is a wounded warrior. This is a person who's been through a lot. Let me just keep going. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands coming out here. Someone's taking a brand new direction and choosing to put themselves first here. Now, again, this can be you, or it can be the other person. We do have the card of transition here, which of course is the Death card. Someone's gone through some sort of transition here and they're ready to take a new direction. They're not focused on anything but themselves at the moment. They are really self-focused on what they want from their life. So it could be even any of you guys, if you're in a relationship that you are feeling isn't serving you any longer, you could be doing the same thing, questioning why you're there, questioning whether you want to move on, you could be questioning how to revive or survive in this situation as well. So it could be that you're looking at ways to make your relationship take on a different form. But whoever this is focusing on themselves at this time. They're not focusing on anyone else. They know it's really important here to focus on what they want. They're making their own choices here of the direction they want to go in, and putting themselves first, which we should be doing. Maybe doing some self-work here as well, but they're going through some sort of transformation. So nothing else is really important at this time. They put everything else on the back burner. So we have the Wheel of Fortune coming out with the Hermit. Let me say there's a lot of major arcanas again in this reading, which I've seen a lot of lately. So someone is being either coerced or is working with the universe now. They're no longer working, they're no longer seeing themselves as unimportant. This person is seeing themselves as very important now. So you may have been dealing with someone who had a very low self-esteem or was going through something pretty tough. If this was you, then maybe you have come out of that now and you're able to see things more clearly. But the universe it's sort of like the universe is taking over here or working with this person now. So I think this person was fighting against things in the past, fighting against feelings, fighting against a situation. They don't want to fight anymore. They just want to let it go now. They're done. They've seen something differently now and they know they have to put themselves first. If this is the person you're dealing with, there is an offer coming, but it's going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while because this person has to sort out their own life first. They are really focused on what they need, focused on their own path. I feel like they've come through some sort of like dark time, some sort of depression, sadness, but they're seeing the other side of it now. They can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So now they're putting the energies into themselves. Look, they've come up as the King of Wands then. So this person's taking leadership of their own life now. So you may not know this person. You may be just about to come into contact with this person. It could be someone you've had contact with, and it could be a partner. Whoever this is, they've really struggled with something here that they want to leave behind. And I think for some of them, it is a relationship. I feel that they're very beaten up by something that they've got in their lives at the moment, and they need to sort of change that. But for whoever this is, it's still going to take some time. Because this person's on their own journey. So at the moment, it looks as though they've come out of a depression or a sadness or a hard time. Maybe some of them, this person here they're with here could be very difficult for them to live with or be around. And I think it's taken them a long time to get past that energy there, because they've been focused on their own pain here. But what's happening is this person's starting to see things differently. I think the universe has stepped in here. I think they've had a bit of a wake-up call, because they're starting to see that they are as important now. I think that this person's probably not valued themselves in the past. And I think they've put other people before themselves. So they're probably quite empathic, probably quite intuitive, and maybe also very much a people pleaser. And I feel like this person's starting to understand their own importance here, because they are now coming up as the King of Wands. So when this person comes back in to make an offer, they're a different level. They're a different person. They're not the same person that you would have known, because they're understanding their own value now. You're not dealing with someone who was struggling. And you may not have known this person was struggling in the past when you meet them, because you're going to get this. You're not going to get the battled husband, the beaten up husband, or the beaten up partner. You're going to get someone who's brand new, who's gone through some sort of change here, closed out stuff that no longer serves them, and is dealing with, Page of Pentacles coming out as well. But they're putting themselves first now. They're deciding what they want. They're not putting up with what they don't want anymore. Oh, Four of Swords, definitely doing, and quite as we speak, this person is in the healing mode. They're actually in their healing phase at the moment. So if this is one of you, and it is someone that you're currently dealing with, you are right in the middle of your healing phase. And when I see that, I think it won't be long before the universe will be able to work with you. because the universe, the spirit finds it hard to work with people when they're closed down. And when you're in that really low state where you're not valuing yourself or valuing who you are, you're very difficult sometimes for people to reach. So, when you're feeling very sad or down, if somebody comes bouncing around you and tells you how wonderful life is and what is wrong with you, you close down completely. You don't want to know. And I feel like this is where this person's been, where they've just been completely closed down. But something has awakened them. Something's brought them back to life here. And now they've sort of seen the light, or they've seen possibilities within themselves. They are now able to work with the universe. So spirit is now able to work with them. So spirit now bounds in the room and says, hey, look what a great life you've got, and it'll be great. Well, they will listen. They will understand now. So, but it's still lots of healing here. And somebody was talking about how much time is divine timing. And the easiest way to explain it is things can never come together in any way, shape, or form in any part of the universe. We're all energy. Everything's energy. Everything, even that's solid, is energy. And nothing can come together until it matches that energy. So if you're dealing with a person who's been in, and it doesn't make anybody better than anyone else, it just means you vibrate differently. But if you're in a low place and you only have to imagine, say, for example, when you're feeling down or you're feeling unwell and you want to get up and do stuff and you can't find the energy, that is because you're vibrating very low. And sometimes we have to do that to heal. If you then try to come into some sort of union or whatever with someone who hasn't healed, your vibrations are different. And that's why very often, it's such a complicated thing, isn't it? That's why very often people can't come back together until they're vibrating, because they don't recognize each other in the universe. So you've got, if a person's in denial, for example, they can't feel the resonation of the other person. In fact, they might even be to the point where they deny it, or they completely disbelieve what's being presented. So until they can vibrate at the same level, there's just no way in the world you can come back together. That's divine timing, that coming back together. Divine timing can be anything. It can be a week, it could be a month, it could be, I've said to someone 3 months and I've been right to the day. Other times, no. I've read for people and I've given them, everything else has come right in that time, but the relationships missed the mark. I don't know. It just depends on how people are working, I guess. So if you're doing the self-work, it's like I always say to people, if you are doing the work on yourself, you are doing the meditations, the questioning of yourself, trying to understand your own behaviors, understanding your own patterns and cycles, why you do what you do, what you need to do to create, because creation is the best way to get yourself growing. So, painting, dancing, singing, whatever it is for you, do it. Do as much of it as you can. If it's walking, exercising, whatever it is, creation. If you're creating, then you're allowing spirit to come into your body and help you move forward. So create, create, create. If you're meditating, then you're quiet and spirit can speak to you while you're quiet. So you can get then the messages that help you recognize what you need to be working on or what you need to be doing differently. So it's all a matter of you putting in the energy into your own growth. You can't grow for the other person. You can't try and approach the other person before they're ready. Nothing like that's going to work because the vibrations aren't the same. So divine timing can take, depending on what work you're putting in, but also depending on what the other person's putting in. Sewing as we speak. Oh, Jane, you should have seen what Jane made. I looked at it the other day. She makes quilts, and you've never seen anything more stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. Once we get to a point where we've got our own room and you can show pictures and things, we'll have to start showing each other those things. Yeah, so even if you don't know the person, Deborah, even if you're not sure of who you are going to meet, whoever this is at the moment is really working on themselves, okay? So just rest assured this person is in a healing phase. It's more than likely with the energy there that they could be dealing with a karmic person, or dealing with a person who has perhaps been very difficult for them to either work past, work through, or move on from. very heavy energy around that. So, but they're doing the work that is required of them. See, the thing is, if you're an awakened soul, or if you're very welcome, Jeanette. If you're a person who's already started your awakening, and then I would guess that people on here either are, working on themselves currently or have been working on themselves for a while. You're divine feminines. You've been doing the work that's required of you. The last thing you really want to do is meet a person who's vibrating at a level that doesn't correspond with you. So if you meet someone and you are completely, perhaps you're an animal activist and you meet someone who shoots and skins animals and it completely goes against what you want, that might be a deal breaker in a relationship for you. It may not. You may be able to accept that. I guess it's just a rough sort of idea of what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is you can meet someone who vibrates completely different to you, or you can meet someone who's aligned with you. So if you want someone to be aligned with the way you are and spiritually open and ready to do things with you, even if they're a very different person to you, you can still align spiritually. So you want someone who aligns with you in the right ways. You don't want to pick yourself up another narcissistic relationship. You don't want to be on that roundabout again and pick up someone who's negative and, unworthy of the beautiful person you are. So just do the work you need to do and your divine timing will come in its right timing. Thank you, Jeanette. Jitty quilt. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was beautiful. And that's why I said, Jane, you should probably share the photo with us. It was absolutely stunning. And I said to Jane, wow, why aren't you selling them? And she said, they just take so much work and so much energy, but the result is absolutely amazing, absolutely beautiful. Now, I do know that people have often said, no thanks, narcissist. Good for you, Jess, same as me. I do think that there are people who speak to me often who talk to me about their own businesses and their own things. And I do try to promote as much as I can, but I don't always do it all the time. And I'd like to find a better way of doing that because I know that some of you have got things to share that would be really nice to share. So I spoke to somebody the other day and said, if you want to, we'll find some way of sharing our own special creative gifts with each other so that we can support each other with that. But anyway, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. You know me, I love doing that. Yeah, we don't want no narcissists. I think we're done with them. Unless someone has really understood what that journey's all about. We talked about Richard Grannon earlier. And I've been, as I said, watching Richard Grannon for several years now. I'm sure he'd only started his journey when I first started out. Now he's huge now. And I loved the way he talked about his own experiences and I could relate to them very, very strongly. And he sort of talks about, the narcissist has had a tough journey too. We've very often had exactly the same journey. So a narcissist very often has had a tough upbringing. Narcissistic parents, whatever, but much the same as what an empath has. It's just unfortunate they sort of go in a different direction. Who can explain that? I mean, a serial killer can raise 5 or 6 children and none of them will be a serial killer. We don't know why or how it turns out that some people become narcissistic and some people become more empathic. It's obviously something to do with our prior lifetimes or what we bring to this life. So Richard Grannon was sort of talking about the fact that, with a narcissist, now a narcissist, if you were a really strong person meeting someone for the first time, a narcissist seems to really enjoy meeting people who are very intelligent, successful people. So it's not like a narcissist pinpoints certain types of people. They go for the people who can really think for themselves, the bright, intelligent people that you all are. I don't know, that just seems to be the way it works out. But he is, after doing all the work he's done, he is absolutely sure that a narcissist could change if they really wanted to. But it's the matter of, do they want to? Because if they're having the life they want, well, maybe they don't want to choose to be anything different. Yeah, I thought about doing a community page on Facebook, and I love the Ghetto Nun Jody. Oh my God. I love her. I think she's great. But you don't have to worry. The whole swearing thing, if you're averse to people swearing, don't go anywhere near her. She is just out there. But the thing is, with a Facebook page, I'd end up with you all writing again, and I didn't want to do it that way because I want you to be able to talk so that we can interact with each other. Because I see you all talking to each other on there, which is fabulous, but would be so much nicer if we could talk amongst ourselves. So this is why I'm really looking forward to perhaps doing it on Zoom and having like a, I know that Soulful Revolution, I think her name is, has what she calls a, what does she call her? The Empress Club or something. But if I do it on a Facebook page, I'm just going to end up in the same situation. So I'm thinking of doing it on Zoom, but once I move the classes that I'm doing to a weekday, so that I can then do perhaps a Saturday and just have a permanent group and allow people to access that group all the time. And I have to work out how to do that and how to limit it and make sure that we only have people in there that we want in there too. So, not that that's being discriminatory. I don't mean that. I haven't really had too many bad experiences on YouTube at all, but rather than have people who are not really wanting to perhaps be part of a group. Sorry, someone's talking to me here. Sometimes, people may not have the same approach to being in a group environment, as you may have seen a couple of times when I've had people come on to here and just give a few little comments. And if you ignore them, sometimes they just go away. And a couple of times they haven't. And I've had to say goodbye. So I'm thinking if we do it privately, but if I do it on Zoom, I'm just not sure how people can come in every week, whether I'd have to keep sending the invite out to all of the people and just make sure. But I might have a bit of a chat with Jane about that later, so that you can actually talk to each other. We do it at work. We have Microsoft Teams at work, and I know we can have like 80, 90 people on there, but you can't all do it video. You have to actually keep turning on and off your video so you can talk. Otherwise, it sort of collapses the system. You can just mute your microphone and your picture when you talk. So if we can work out something like that, would be really good. I'm not sure how to do Microsoft Teams, but it may be something better. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, Jane. I'm thinking I don't want to post them on my website. Although if we got people in that were in any way, shape or form or disrespectful to anybody else in the group, I guess I've still got the opportunity to cast them out, cast them out from the coven. So if I send an invite to everybody once, Jane, and set it up as a regular meeting, does that mean I still have to send the invites out every week, or can people still join that meeting on the same number each time if it's a regular meeting? That's what I need to know. So, or if I have everybody in an email list and I post that email out to everybody, do I then have to post out every week, or can it be just an open invitation? Because then I just have to work out how to keep everybody's invites. And what I need to do, actually, what you guys can do, let's have a bit of a competition. Let's have a bit of a competition. Let's think up a name for our group that I can call the group and have it as the Zoom name. Because obviously somebody's pinched the Empress Club, so we can't use that. Yeah, I'd love you to check that out for me, Jane, because I'm thinking if I can set up a group every week at the same time, so say every Saturday at 1 p.m. Australian time, I could set up, or 12 p.m., whatever, I could set up a group, and then I could send the email out to everybody that wants to be involved once only, and then they could come in every week if they want to. And there'll be some weeks some people wouldn't come in, and that's fine too. But I'm thinking there must be a way of doing that, because that's what we do with Microsoft Teams. So once you're in the group, you can join that particular group. So I have, during the week, say I have 10 meetings during the week with different things. And I'm already enrolled in those groups. So every week I just click on that particular group name and it takes me into that meeting. And then, as I said, we can have, 50 people in there. We can't all talk at once, but if you want to talk, you can raise your hand, and then you just can unclick your microphone or your video, and you can either be shown or you can just choose to talk without having a picture there. And you have to have a picture up to do that too. But anyway, we'll think about that. I will come up with something. Go for it, Gigi. Have a great name. She's come up with something already. What would it be? Waiting. I kept thinking of something too, like, that represents everybody on here. And we have to be Yvonne's Soulful Talks. That sounds very nice, but it's going to be for everybody. That's all right, Jane. That's fabulous. It has to be for everybody. The Goddesses group. There you go. Let me just take that one with me, because I reckon we could go one step further. But we have to be careful, because we have the beautiful Scott, who is not on today, but we'll go back and hear me say that. And Scott joins us nearly every time on here. And I think he's a very clever man, because he gets how women think. But he's had his own journey too. So I'm thinking that we might have to call it the Gods and Goddesses or something like that as well, so that we don't discount men. So maybe Gods and Goddesses, which reminds me, who had the deck of tarot cards that was goddesses and gods? Because somebody showed me the Goddess Gang. It'd have to be the gods. Oh, Moira, where did you come from? I was talking about you before and you weren't here. We have to remember we have gods and goddesses. The Gods and Goddess Gang. That's all G's. Alliteration. Jane, being you're a school teacher. The Gods and Goddesses. Yeah, you can't forget Scott. Golden Gods and Goddesses. Oh, now, how about the Golden God? Let me just write this down. The Golden Gods and Goddesses Gang. Let me just write it down. So we've got, I love the gang bit. All right, that's all down so we can come up with something. I like all the G's though. Yeah, there we go. Say that 3 times fast. I don't know, but I'm really good at those things. So would you like me to say one of those without swearing? Because when I was at school, I learned to say, I'm not the pheasant plucker, I'm the pheasant plucker's son, and I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes. And nobody else can do that. And the G's for short. There you go, the GGs. Yeah, I like the gang, the Goddess and Goddess Gang for sure. And the golden ones. Yeah, golden gods and goddesses. I love that. I think we might go with that. The Golden Gods and Goddesses Gang. Lots of G's. Yeah, I learned to do those things at school. And as I said, nobody else can do them. So I'm quite proud of myself when I do it. But my throat's starting to get a bit crackly, so I might come off. It's been nearly an hour today, so I need to go and finish off these readings so you guys get readings this evening. And I'll try and do your June readings one day this week. I would like to see what's going on in June too. Hi, Linda. How are you going? Hi from the Gold Coast. What's the weather like on the Gold Coast today? I was asking Moira, I was talking about, because I said about the fact you do all the astrology stuff, and I mentioned that I think someone said there's 3 eclipses in the next month. The weeklies were really cool, Jess. Really nice readings. I think I had one that was a bit sticky so far, but really, it's cold on the Gold Coast. Yeah. It's sort of, I don't know what it's like outside at the moment. It's really, really sunny, but the Australian weather always got a lot to answer for. It always looks really nice and you go outside and it's freezing. Okay, guys, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please. And I will be back with you tomorrow. I'll have a think of, lots of eclipses coming up. Thank you very much, Rebecca. It's been lovely to spend time with you. I couldn't think of a better hour spent. Much love. Mwah.